Hi, my name's Austin. Welcome to my channel. Now in this video is going to be a little bit different than my normal videos because normally I spend a lot of time editing, adding quotes, trying to find a moral to the story, spice it up with a little culture. But in this video, I just want to be a little bit more candid because I think we're at the point of this relationship where I have 18,000 subscribers and you might be wondering, who is this Agustin guy? Who is this character? Well, so I wanted to explain a little bit about who I am, why I think the way they do, some of my goals with YouTube, why I decided to start a YouTube channel, which I still really don't know. And so yeah, so I'm going to explain a little bit about who I am, but first you might be asking yourself, Austin, what's up with the mustache? Well, I recently went on a backcountry hike called the Four Pass Loop, which was 3 nights, 4 days in the wilderness with no technology, dehydrated food, eating Cliff Bars and granola every single day. An amazing experience. I just feel so refreshed. But I decided not to shave during that time, and I thought it would be appropriate not to continue to shave, at least throughout this video. So you can see a little bit of my personality outside of this YouTube thing. So I live in Colorado. I'm not from Colorado. I'm originally from Georgia. I've lived in Colorado for about 2 years. One huge thing that you should know about me is I love traveling, and I spent a lot of time in my early 20s traveling, and I always try to add little stories or spice up my videos with a little bit of culture, of things that I learned during those times, because they were such powerful experiences to me. And so I went to about 35 countries during when I was 19, so from the years 2012 to 2017. So I went to Europe a few times, I went to South America a couple times, I went to Asia, and during those trips I just learned so much about myself, about the world. It kind of challenged me to think differently. Very powerful experiences. I mean, I try to add them in my videos because I think there's a lot to be said and I kind of feel like I have a story to tell. So I spent a lot of time in my early 20s traveling, and I paid for it. I mentioned this before in a couple videos, but I paid for it working at a minimum wage job. I was making about $8 an hour. And what I would do is I would work for 9 months and study for 9 months at college, and then I would travel for 3 months. And I did that for about 5 years. I think I went on 6 trips or 5 trips. I would need to count to figure it out. But incredible. And I did it with tiny amounts of money. I would travel for 3 months off $4,000. I mean, one of the things I'm trying to express in this channel is that you do not need a lot of money to live your dreams. You don't even need that much money at all. So that's kind of what I'm trying to express in a lot of the videos, and I'm also trying to kind of get people to think differently about culture, because I think that when you're confined to one way of thinking, or if you're confined into your own culture, you don't realize that what's out there. You don't realize that there's more than just one way to live in this world. And I think that when you see how other people live, and you see that you don't have to be working a 9-to-5 job your whole life, or you can take sabbaticals throughout your life, or just do more of what you want, then you can it's hard to actually go with the status quo. So I'm trying in this channel. Hopefully it's coming across good, and hopefully it's not coming across too extreme. But I'm trying to express that message about there's not just one way to live, and you can do a lot more than you think, and you don't need that much money to do it. So during that time, I spent a lot of time traveling in college. I graduated college debt-free because I was living at home, and I went to community college and then state school. If you're in school right now, if you do those 2 things, you can graduate with debt-free or just with minimal debt. I think that people put themselves in a lot of debt because they add a lot of pressure, and they go to these private schools or they try to get these fancy degrees, and I just don't think that's necessary. And I think life is actually better when you don't take on a bunch of debt, because you're able to make more choices. I mean, a lot of the things that I've done in my life, I'm only able to do it because I don't have any debt, especially student loan debt, which is kind of just a trap that keeps people in the cycle of working their entire life to pay off their debts. So yeah. Which is something I try to mention in these videos. All right, so what else about me? After I did all that traveling, I graduated college. I studied English, rhetoric, and composition, a language I already speak, I know. But I learned the power of words, and kind of trying to make these videos sort of kind of like in stories with kind of quotes and get people to think differently, in trying to use words and rhetoric to express that message as best as I can. And I'm very new to this, so just bear with me as I'm doing this. But after I graduated college, I joined the Peace Corps, which, if you don't know what the Peace Corps is a program funded by the United States government, and it goes to different countries around the world, usually developing countries, and just helps in certain projects. And it's not a political thing, it's just you go to help for a country that asks for the help and just do a project. So my project was teaching English. One second. Okay, sorry. Just making sure it's still recording, because sometimes I might be talking to the camera for 10 minutes and nobody, and it's not even recorded. But anyways, so I went to Ecuador, worked with the Peace Corps for 2 years, an incredible experience. I lived in the capital city of Quito, and usually when people think about the Peace Corps, it's about, you know, you're living in a hut in the middle of nowhere with no amenities, but that was not the case for me. I was living in a pretty developed city with pretty much all the amenities. And I've mentioned this in a couple of videos, but one of the things about the Peace Corps is they want you to live at the level of the people that you're serving. So I was making about $570 a month, which was more than enough to just cover the basic necessities, but nothing more than that. And I learned a lot about just living with less, minimalism, and I think that through that experience, I really learned that life is better with less, because often on YouTube, you see these extreme examples about how people are decluttering or trying to live these extreme lifestyles. But I think that when you truly understand that life is better with less, and you find happiness through relationships and community and just life experiences, then minimalism is so easy. So, Peace Corps, incredible experience. If you have any questions on it, if you're American watching this, because you have to be American to do it, send me an email. Just go to the business inquiry section on my About page, and you can always send me a message if you want to say hello. But yeah, you learn so much about culture. It's different. When you're traveling, you really just see people and places. But when you're living in another country, you really see culture. And after a while, when you're there, for the first couple months, people are really excited that a foreigner's there and they're trying to make the best food. But after a while, you just become part of the culture and just part of the day-to-day interaction, and people don't view you as differently. And you get to see all the pros of the culture and then all the cons of the culture, and you just realize that there's no right or wrong way to do things. They're just different, and just people do different things in different places, and you can learn from them. And it gets you to challenge your own culture, which is something that I keep trying to do, is getting people to challenge their culture, or the American culture at least, to see the world a little bit differently. But after the Peace Corps, in 2020, pandemic happened, got evacuated from the country. We had to pack up all of our things in 12 hours, get to the capital city, which I was already in, take a chartered airplane, because there was no airplanes leaving the country, back to the United States, back to Estados Unidos, and the world was ending. And so what did I do? I wanted to keep traveling. I wanted to live abroad, maybe do some more projects, but couldn't do that because of the pandemic. So that was a big change in my life. And so what I decided to do is I decided to move out to Colorado, where I currently live, and because I have family out here, and just kind of do something different. I don't really like Atlanta because that's where I'm from. I don't like Atlanta, but just partly because all the traffic. It's a very kind of work hard city. I don't think there's a good work-life balance in that as much. And I wanted to be with nature, and I just love nature and being around Grand Mountain. So that's why I moved out here. And so that leads me to now, when I started this YouTube channel about 9 months ago. I was just kind of I don't really know why I wanted to start it. It just felt right. It's kind of like when I was traveling, I don't know why I was traveling. It just felt right. And so I've just been kind of talking about things that I've been learning, kind of learning as I go, making these videos, trying to get people to question society, realize that life is better with less, don't get into debt. You don't have to do all these things that society tells you to do. There's more than just one way to live. And hopefully the message is spreading, and hopefully do not come across as too extreme. But I can only to a certain extent can I express who I am through a camera in a room by myself with these lights and this camera and now a microphone. So I'm doing my best. Bear with me. It's a lot of learning. I mean, the last 2 months since this channel has taken off, I just feel like I've grown so much as a person. But I'm going to keep making videos. We'll see how it goes through time. I love reading your comments. I'm just shocked with all the positivity in the comment section, because a lot of times on the internet, it's a negative place, but not in the channel of Agustin. Only a troll comes and stops by every once in a while, but that's how you know that you're getting good, once the trolls start to come. But anyways, that's a little about who I am. I hope that this kind of worked. I hope you find this interesting. I don't know if you do. If you've made it this far, you might find it a little bit of interesting. But yeah, just keep watching if you can. Keep commenting if you can. It really helps me understand who's watching and what is working and what is not working, because it's very chaotic making these videos sometimes, especially as I'm working a job and doing this at the same time. Very difficult at times. But anyways, I don't want to jabber on too long. This has gone over 10 minutes, so hope you enjoyed this. That's a little bit about who I am. Muchas gracias for watching. Que tengan un buen día. Yo soy Agustin de las Montañas de Colorado. Nos vemos.